Music started as just my therapy. Around 14, 15, I went through some really rough depression, and honestly, I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with life. It was a tough period for me in my life, but when I would write music or when I was performing or learning to sing or just being around music, it helped me to escape all that. It helped me to feel like I can come down here and there's no walls on me. There's no pressure. I can just come down here and write how I feel. And so I had a lot of shit built up. I had a lot of things built up in me, and things I would write down as a 15-year-old were things that my own family would hear and be like, "Ooh, like, are you okay?" And I would have to tell them, like, this is my escape. If I don't have this, then all these things that I'm talking about could turn into something worse. Where it all started. I'm sitting here, I'm in my parents' basement, and this is where I first started to develop a lot of skills around writing music, and I had my dad's old computer back in, what would it be, 2011, 2012, and I started to pull up GarageBand and start making songs. This is where I first started making music. I remember this used to look different. It was a storage closet originally. I think we put like toys from when we were kids and games in there. And when we got the equipment, I think it was on Christmas we got it, we came down here and this was just a wall behind me. But we cut the square in there and gutted it out, and we put the microphone in there and we turned it into the booth. So we took these cardboard panels that we got, and we would just either glue them or nail them. I'm pretty sure we nailed them. As you can see, there's still the nails in here with the cardboard on it. But we would do it, and we would nail them, and then we would use this adhesive spray and stick the cheap foam to them, and I mean, that was really the booth. And then the microphone stand would sit right here in the middle, so we could see through the window over there and talk to the producer. In my case, it really didn't matter because I was just running back and forth. But yeah, this was where we would come and we would record. And then we put the desk behind me, and I remember we used to stack books and put the speakers on top. My brother actually was the first one to use it as a studio space. He used to have people come down and start recording. Shout out to Jon Parra, because I remember he used to be producing them, and I would watch him and I would watch how he would make beats or how he would record them, and that always interested me, and I would ask questions. And then when they would leave, I would come down here and use the same setup and do my best attempt at what they were doing. But in reality, I was just writing music and spitting, yelling it into the microphone. My voice back then was not all there, but it's just a matter of watching them come down here and thinking that they were making the greatest music ever just because they're making it in my house. When my brother did go to school and he moved out, so it worked out because he was 18 and I was 13, 14. And I started living down here, and my bed was right over there. I would wake up and have the studio over here. So if I didn't have school one day, or if I had a half day, or just anytime kind of during the night, I would wake up and write, and it would be right here. And it's funny because in the situation I'm in now, it's the same sort of feel. I go in the living room and it's a studio. It's a better quality studio, but there's still that element of I always could wake up and make music. And I think if I didn't have that back then, I wouldn't be where I'm at mentally or in my life, period, right now. When I was down here, I wasn't making my own beats pretty much until towards the end of me being down here. I was just looking on YouTube, getting YouTube beats or doing remixes of like songs that I liked. And there was more hip hop. It had some singing into it. I always loved writing choruses, even when I was young, and singing over some things. But it was mostly hip hop. It was mostly rap. There was a period where I would use it for singing covers, because originally I started music in singing. After school would be the best time for me because everybody would be at work, or it would be quiet, and I'd be able to come down here and write freely. Then as I got older, my father, as you know, really into boxing, and it's funny because right now this whole place has turned into a boxing gym, and I'm proud of my father for what he's doing. But even back then, it was like, we're a loud Italian family, and when you're trying to record and you got things going on upstairs, everybody's walking around, you hear it. There's not much ceiling up here, so it bleeds through. But I wouldn't have had it any other way, because finding that time to do it and making it work, there's a level of problem solving with it, and it helped. So I started on some really cheap equipment, nothing crazy. I think the monitors were M-Audio BX5s, and the microphone wasn't anything crazy. I had a one-input interface, but at the time, it was this whole new world to me, and I didn't know how to really use any of it. But like I said, it was just the early days of developing those skills, and then learning, like, okay, these monitors can't produce these low frequencies like I need them to, which is why my bass is not sounding right in the car. And I didn't know how to make it sound how I wanted to sound, but I kept trying. And in those attempts of keep trying and making hundreds of songs, and half of them coming out like crap mix-wise, and some of them, even the songs, are not great. But the fact of the matter is, the hitting the ceiling and hitting these limits, and not being able to fully break through them right away, it forced me to be patient with myself and with the process. And for that, looking back, I'm thankful, because like I said, I know that not everybody gets the opportunity to come clean out of a closet and start making music, but it's the fact that I was able to do that, and I kept going with it, and I kept, when I would get new equipment, I would be happy, but it wasn't the equipment, it was the learning the fundamentals. Because now when I get these plugins, or when I get new equipment, I know how to use them, and I'm able to make things sound how I want them to sound. But it all came from the hours and hours of repetitions of not sounding good. I appreciate the blessing of, like, my aunt getting me the equipment that she got me, but to call it for real, like, it wasn't the best equipment. It wasn't professional grade stuff. It was basic things. But using those basic things and really learning the fundamentals of everything through limited equipment is the reason that when I did get the equipment that I used to dream about getting, I was able to get it and use it. I didn't realize that I was mixing. I didn't realize that what I was learning on GarageBand, or what I was just doing on GarageBand over a certain period of time were skills that got me to what I'm doing today, or the quality of music that I can make today. It all started here. So when I go back and listen to how my voice sounded, I'm like, but I also listen to it with a mind of, wow, like, sometimes I wish I could grab that again, because there's certain songs that people are like, oh, well, re-record that. You can't re-record some songs from when I'm 15 years old, and that's in the moment, and I'm feeling like crap, and I wrote this at a specific time, and my voice at the time could only rap it the way that it sounds. I feel like compared to the music I make now, or the sound I have, I definitely feel like I've developed more of a sound from back then. You know, especially with me making my own beats now. It's like I have a full canvas. I'm not stuck to, you know, what I find on YouTube or you know, this and that. I feel like I've developed more of a sound in myself, but I'm also going through a transitional time as an artist now. I feel like after everything that's happened over this past year, I've reconnected with that element of just write freely and write what you really want to talk about, and in that I'm also incorporating the newer sound that I have, and I feel like it's definitely different from what I did, while still pulling what I liked from that period of my life. There's this song that I actually put out on that project, Becoming, and that whole project mostly are songs that I recorded down here. And the song Pain in the Air is a song that will follow me forever, just off of how raw it is. You can't re-record certain songs, and that's one song that I cannot emulate or re-record at all, just off of what I'm saying, what I felt at the time. It's a song that will forever be one of my realest songs. And I was only 15 when I wrote it and when I recorded it, and the mix is all muddy and messed up, but in a way I never wanted to put it out. My whole family was like, this song is and my friends were like, this song is crazy, like what you're talking about. And I didn't want people to hear it because it was too real to me. And when I'm 18, even when I'm 18, 19 years old, there's that element of like, ooh, do I want people to see that? And the truth is, yeah, I do, because that's what it really was. The reason I love that song is because, one, you know, that was before I knew how to use auto-tune, and I'm 15 and I'm singing on it, and I think I sound pretty nice, but that's the peak of my freedom.
To keep going, some blowing on a stick of herbs. Spill the pain in words that half of you never heard, and I can feel the devil grasping me. Ain't another path for me. Lyrical assassin, it's a passion to the last of me. The aftermath and legacy, never let them get to me. All this blood and sweat to make history my destiny. Never means I never had a struggle on to come up. Losing all our sons mean we had to pick the crumbs up.
I'm always trying to get to the place that I felt down here, in the sense of nobody's hearing my music. I wasn't even going to put none of it out. I was just down here after school, or I would have my friend Gio Rodriguez or Giovanni, or, you know, just to name a few, come down here and we would just rap, and we would write songs, and I'd be like, come over after school, and we would record them. Like I said, not that they would sound professional or they would sound great, but it was just a way of, you know, chilling with friends on one side of it. And it was great socially, because I remember when I actually did put a little project out called Closest to God, which I don't even think is on my SoundCloud anymore, because I took those songs and put them on Becoming. But when I put that out, and I think 2016, I had like 5 or 6, you know, my friends down here, and it was fun. You know, it was a vibe. We would come down here, play music, record, just go and fool around in the booth. And I think there's that level of like, we weren't thinking about, oh, how good does this song sound, when are we putting this out? And I started to get caught up in that, and just recently, you know, over this past 6 months, after the accident, after some of the things that's been going on over these past 6 months, I feel like I'm reconnecting with that feeling more than I ever have since I've been down here. I want to say thank you to my parents wholeheartedly, because I know that not every kid gets the opportunity to put together a studio in the closet downstairs. I'm sure my parents could have used this space in many other ways, but they gave me that opportunity, and they saw that I enjoyed it, and they saw that I was using it, and so they let me have it, and they would come down sometimes and listen to what I have, and you know, I had to listen back to some of those songs, and I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, because some of those did not sound great, but I'm thankful that they let me do it. They let me come down here and use the space and just thank you. I want them to realize that without them letting me do that, and without their, I'm sure to them it was just Mikey's making music down here and it was fun and games, but without that opportunity, I wouldn't have known what went into the studio I have now. Look down here, I didn't have acoustic treatment, specifically for this room or any really great equipment, but they let me use it, and they trusted me, and they believed in me, and I'm just forever thankful for that. I wouldn't change it for the world, man. I really wouldn't. This room, this small area contains some of the most important parts of the journey so far, and whether it be the learning how to write songs, learning how to mix. That's the technical end of things. It's more the fact that I come down here and it still looks, it doesn't look the way it did. My dad now has his thing down here, but it's still a space of creativeness and drive, and it's a place that dreams are being bred, because my father's gonna do his thing, and I'm very thankful, because now I have the studio at home, and it's definitely better, but it doesn't have that feeling of this has a past feeling. I look back on this and like I said, I know how much happened here, and how much it bred me for what I've taken on and what I'm still taking on, and yeah, man, it's definitely a pivotal point in my life. If I didn't have this space, I doubt that I'd still be making music, because I wouldn't have had the opportunity to lock down or lock in and do it as much as I did. It became a part of my life. Like, I can't picture my life without music. I went 4 weeks after my accident without writing something, and I got anxious about it, because you're talking when I'm 13 years old till now. I always been down here making music, and when I came back from school when I was 18, this space was already cleaned out and the desk was gone, and my dad put the gym down here, but my parents let me go upstairs, and I turned the living room into a small little setup. And so it's always just making use of what you do have. I always was like looking at the equipment that these dudes would have. I want that mixing board, I want that microphone. Reality, I didn't know how to use none of it. So now, making use of what you do have, no matter what it is, no matter how small it is, start there and start, because when you start and you learn the skills, they're gonna take you to that next step. But I'm happy that I started young and that I was given the opportunity to do it down here.